So excited to be here in person. I hope I'm not too awkward. I haven't talked in person to people in a very long time. But I'm so excited. Ulli and Casey and I have had some great chats this week. We're going to try to keep very focused. I'll do a brief intro on me. I'm Maggie Siegler, Group Director of Retail Media at Dentsu, a large global agency network. I focus and oversee the teams that launch and activate advertising within retailers like Amazon, Walmart, Instacart, you name it, or we use the data from retailers to do marketing campaigns. Before that, I concentrated mostly on paid search and shopping within traditional search engines like Google, but what's nice about Dentsu is the majority of our clients, we work with them on multiple channels, on integrated teams. So I'm very passionate about retail and omnichannel mixes and using data to solve complex journeys. So I can't wait to talk with these ladies and you all today. So here we've got Ulli Haslacher. Did I get that right again? Perfect. Okay, great. And Casey Simmons. So Ulli is here. She is the founder and president of a very unique skincare line called Pour Moi Skincare. And Casey is representing Quiksilver today. But we're going to get them started talking more about how they got involved in their current brands and their experience in retailer. We talked a lot the other day about how that's changed, or the flip and power of retailers. So I'd like to set the stage with that. Then we're going to talk more about loyalty, attribution, media mixes, and go on from there, and then end with some questions. Okay, great. So Ulli and Casey, do y'all want to start off telling us more about your journey and really how things have changed from what you've seen in the past few years, and particularly in the past 2 years?
Yes. So Pour Moi Skincare is the world's first climate-smart skincare. We disrupted the industry by not formulating by skin type, ethnicity, or gender. We formulate specifically for the local climate you live in, and that's based on medical research for the last 20 years that has shown that our skin biochemically changes in the climates we live in, and also pharmaceutical research has shown that any topical solution that you put on your body is affected by humidity, temperature, air pressure, and light. So it's a very different concept to it. I have been in retail for 30-some years, and I'm also one who gets the catalogs still from Neiman Marcus. So I'm old-fashioned in every way or shape. And, I have worked with pretty much all the retailers throughout my career in marketing and sales, and we always were looking for a, is this off? Well, yeah, okay.
When you talk about something, it's great.
I saw the industry changing in a big way. The retailers used to be extremely powerful. I worked a lot with Walgreens and CVS and Walmart, but also with Neiman Marcus and the department stores. And it was a broken system in many ways, which the retailers recognized themselves as well. For what I did in my career was I was hired by brands to bring in new ideas, like a disruptive way of what we can do. Like I worked with, one of my clients in toothbrushes. We put music because we realized, we identified that the tween market was, neglected. Everybody would buy, there was toothbrushes for very small children, and then, very specified for adults, but nobody thought really about the group between 10 and 14 before they get their braces. And we put Justin Bieber music on it, and, we made a license deal with Bravado, and, it was just a real game changer, and we could move a lot of inventory, at that time. So that's what I always did, and when I looked into skincare and into medical research, I found that white space. What I didn't know at that time is that actually in 150 years of modern patent laws, medicated or non-medicated skincare never mentioned temperature, humidity, or climate in any kind of patents. So I was able to actually protect this method of matching skincare to the climate and changing it when climate changes, seasonal or location, or with extreme weather events. And that kind of changed the journey that I have never done before, because it took me 7 years to get the first patent. Now I have 10, and more coming. It's so unique, and with the pandemic, we really didn't launch until 2020. I was not an e-commerce retailer, and thank God to MediaPost, I literally got every of our, our partners through MediaPost that I met, because I'm old-fashioned. I knew how to do, business in retail, but not online, and so we had to learn very quickly. And, and I was just telling Casey that we had, KTLA was coming by, wanted to do something for their weather thing, tying it in with our skincare, and she was saying, oh my God, you must have, kudos to your SEO team, because, I put in skin and dry climate, and you came up organically, and then I did, humidity, and you came up organically, and then I told her, well, we don't even have anything in SEO, we don't do SEO. We just have a white space, and there is nobody else that connects the climate with skincare. And so we really were very successful with that. Now we are facing that challenge to put it into regular retail.
My name's Casey Simmons, and I'm fortunate enough to represent Quiksilver. If you haven't heard of us, our brand is over 50 years old. I invite you, actually, one of our stores is here in La Jolla, so you can go visit if you don't know us. Previous to Quiksilver, I'm actually still fairly new. I've been there for a year. I was actually at New Face, which is a San Diego-based beauty brand. So Ulli and I could actually relate to a lot of beauty talk and business. And then previous to that, I was actually at Reef, the sandal company. So hopefully some brands you've heard of or have tried or wear.
So Casey, I'd love for the group to hear more about how the different roles have changed. You talked more the other day about how you started a role and it was just e-com and then it changed, or vice versa. So how have the brands you've worked for changed how they approach retail, multi-channel, and omnichannel?
Yeah, when we started talking or prepping for this panel, actually kind of the best example of, I feel like, how some retailers are changing the landscape or thinking about omnichannel is actually a great example is my role at Quik. So currently my role is digital marketing manager. Most people think, oh, you're running Google Ads, or you must be writing email copy, or you're touching all these things. Yes, that's true, but actually 50% of my role is actually dedicated to the e-com team and the e-commerce team, so doing the traditional, email campaigns, triggered campaigns, automation, running on Google paid social, and doing affiliate marketing, all of that. But actually, the other part of my role is working with our endemic partners. So if you surf, or if you ski, or if you snow, we're doing partnerships with Stab Magazine or Surfline, New Schoolers, media outlets like that. I'm also, I would say 25% of my role is actually helping with our retail partners. So we have our own storefronts. We're also fortunate to partner with a bunch of surf shops, local surf shops, ones that go across the US, PacSun, Tilly's, things like that. So we also do digital programs with them, with running ads, emails, paid social assets, things like that, through their channels as well.
Okay, great. So we've got an iconic surf and lifestyle brand, a very disruptive skincare brand. We're going to talk about their varied approaches to lots of things. But first, I want to address loyalty, which I know is very important to everyone in this room right now. And I think especially when it comes to these very, very concentrated markets, especially when it is harder to get some of those online sales directly to DDC. But that's where you get the loyalty programs, the customer data. So would love for you to touch on how you look at loyalty, how that's changed over time, where do you foster it versus where is it naturally coming through with consumers?
Well, I think it always goes back to the product. It's so competitive out there that, eventually if you only compete on pricing, you're gonna lose. You're gonna have to be the biggest. So that's why I liked so much what Des was saying about that it's a theater out there, and that you really have to give them a reason to buy from you. So in the product world, that is really innovation. You have to have something that nobody else has, that FOMO, of missing out, or you have a product that the customer just comes back buying because it can only be bought by you. So in our case, we acquired about 50,000 customers over the pandemic starting out. We have less than 1% return over 2 years, which is very unusual for a beauty brand online. because the average is like 30% of return. We literally have no return. We have almost 100% retention rate on our customers. They buy once, they buy again, because again, if they believe that anything in relation to their skin has to do with the climate they are in, well, they can only buy by me. I'm the best choice. And of course, I believe highly in quality and customer service. We have excellent customer service, and we have excellent skincare made in France that is really in relationship comparable with a La Prairie or a Lancôme, just very disruptive also in the price point. So most of the consumer buy the products by us. They have never experienced premium skincare from Europe to start out with. So that's also a helper, you know, that your expectations are actually outperformed. But again, it's not all done by technology or customer service or by pricing. It's done by a unique experience, and it's done by an innovative idea. And I think that the product is still very important out there. If you don't have, you know, if you don't have the right collection, like I shop at Neiman Marcus, but I really shop to find something that I like, you know, the product is very important for me. So beside the experience of the shopping. So I think we shouldn't forget about the product.
I agree with Ulli, but yeah, for loyalty, we're always doing a couple different things. We do have a loyalty program that we run in-house. If you're not familiar, Quiksilver is actually owned by Boardriders, and Boardriders actually owns a slew of brands. So if you do become a loyalty member, you actually can gain points, access things like that amongst all the brands. So example, if you become a Quiksilver loyalty member, you will also get points if you purchase from Billabong, Ruka, Element, etc. So we have a pretty robust loyalty program. We have a team dedicated to loyalty and continuously to make it better and better because we have to keep up. But you do get points for every purchase. You get obviously exclusive access to things. You're on our mailing list. There's all these perks that come with it. Also, if you shop in store, you can identify yourself as a loyal member, and it can track all of your in-store purchases as well. But I think one of the biggest things, and I'm sure a lot of brands have done this, I think Daz had a great example with Barbie. We've just been really trying to offer unique product, so newness, to your point, collaborations, working with other brands, working with other, you know, we did a Peanuts launch over the holiday. People love Peanuts and Charlie Brown and Snoopy, and we had board shorts that had the classic little yellow with the black, what do you call it, that little pattern on there, and people loved it, and it sold out. So continuously trying to offer unique experiences and collaborations to our customers.
Yeah, I think that is also very important. What we have done is we put something on every bottle. On the top, we put a QR code, and we call it the Cream Finder, and when you scan your phone, it will tell you instantly what the weather is and what cream to use, because, you know, weather is always fluctuating. What we found is, I think we are the first beauty brand that literally people get their weather from every day. So we are connecting every day with the customer through this unique experience of telling them what the weather is.
That's great. Yeah, I love all these unique experiences. Now, pivoting slightly, in case you talked more about this with, you know, emails and things like that, and using your customer data, I'd love to understand more about how your approach to using customer data has changed, or how you approach attribution. How do you balance, you know, the nimble data that you can work from that comes right in, you know, from your direct sales versus more of a first-time customer value or lifetime value? How do you balance those?
Well, I think we are too young of a brand to actually say something about Pourmoi is only really 2 years young, and because we are so unique, we have, you know, I always say we don't have our own swim lane, we have our own pool. So it's a very, you know, it's a very interesting thing that we, in the moment we are growing so fast that we are trying to, we have so many challenges in fulfillment and you know, and all the data integration and all of that. And as, you know, Jeff was saying, customers want it now within hours. They don't want to wait a day or 2 or 3. And it's really that kind of practical experience drives everything by us. Yeah. Product, when you get it, you know, all of that, having all the data about returns, if there's returns, but most of us customers call in with questions, and you have to have all of this together. So.
That's great.
Yeah, maybe the not most loved answer, but we just work with what we got, right? Everybody has access to different data. You're always trying to, get the data from retail, get the data from the website, try to all sync it together. Is it clean? It's the ongoing debacle, right? But I think we just kind of approach it with using the data with what you got. So great example being, our e-com team. We can be super nimble because it's our data, So if we see people searching this week for sandals because the weather was super warm this week, then let's be nimble and let's do email and let's do extra marketing around sandals. We did a great example that we saw that people were doing an uptick on wetsuits. This has been kind of, I guess, our pain point for Quiksilver and actually a lot of wetsuit brands. A lot of people have gone outdoor, outside of climbing and hiking and camping. People are also getting out in the ocean, which is wonderful and great. But there has been inventory and supply issues with wetsuits. So as much as we want to market wetsuits, we also have to be very careful because we actually don't have great size runs and inventory in stock right now. So we've been able to be super nimble with the e-com side. I think on the retail piece, you just work with what you got, A lot of retail data is hard to obtain, but you just try to work with the best information that you have. So with some of our digital partners like PacSun and Tilly's, I'm constantly pushing and we're working together to take those learnings and apply them where we can.
That's great, and I think that's also very realistic, and it, reminds me what Daz mentioned about the test and learn and having that philosophy and just, trying and using with what you can, so that's great. I'd love to talk more now about your different channels and your customer ecosystem, whether it's, marketing or sales channels, and would love for each of you to talk about our favorite frenemy, Amazon, and I know you're taking different approaches to that as well.
Yes, we have taken a defensive approach to Amazon. You can only buy more by us. We don't have any resellers, no website that resells us, and so we created our own Amazon brand store, but we pay absolutely no attention to it other than making sure that Amazon is actually, making sure that nobody's reselling our products and everything, having an eye on it. It still sells by itself, but we never have any promotions. We also have less than 1% return on Amazon, which I think Amazon everybody returns, so that shows that it's the same that we have on our website. So that's consistent, but we have, with Amazon, like in the moment we're growing so fast on our website, so we have all the consumer data. Why would we push Amazon where we don't have our consumers' data and have to pay them 22% to sell our product? So we are just using it as a defensive measurement, but that's our approach.
We're doing it a little different at Quik, and to be fairly honest, like going into past roles and looking in the background, I think it's very different at every brand. At NewFace, it was a very different approach, and at Reef, it was a very different approach with Amazon. For Quik, the reality for us is we're just a big brand, and people need a rash guard on the fly. They need board shorts on the fly. I think I was talking to someone yesterday that, I'm in La Jolla, but I forgot board shorts. So just working with Amazon and being that partner, we have a dedicated team to running our Amazon store, making optimizations, doing the day-to-day. So I partner with that person to make sure our marketing is up to date, giving them the content they need, updating that as they need it, helping and partnering with the ads that we run on Amazon. But I think specifically what Maggie was trying to bring up that we brought up on our panel prep call is just being smart about it and partnering in the right way. So for us, some adaptions that I guess that we've done is, why are we trying to sell go-to-market products that are new every season on Amazon when that's not what people are going to Amazon for? People are going to Amazon because they probably forgot their swim trunks on vacation and need it in a day. They went to Amazon because they need a basic rash guard for their kid because they're going to the beach. They're not looking for the hot new item for spring on Amazon. So we've just been smarter about our SKU selection and what we're offering there.
And I think fulfillment, as you said, somebody needs it in 3 hours. They actually can do it. I don't think a brand can deliver in 3 hours.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot deliver in 3 hours. It would be awesome.
And then Casey, before we switch to talking about predictions and then questions, do you want to talk more about also how you manage inventory and selection with your retail partners as well?
Yeah, so I'm sure this has been an issue for a lot of people. It definitely has been for us, kind of going back to that wetsuit conversation. Inventory issues are very hard for us right now. And the reality of it is we're a big brand. And going back to BoardWriters again, we share warehouses with all the brands. It's not just Quiksilver. So we just have to be as nimble and honest and open communication with our customers as we can, because we can't move a product in a day. So kind of our resolution for that is just open and honest communication, you know, giving your tracking when you can, offering expedited shipping, things like that. But the reality of it is that we can only get the product as soon as we can. So we've just been open and honest with communicating with our customers about that. And if you do want it in 2 days, then please go to Amazon.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, before we turn it over to questions, I know we talked a little bit about predictions for retail and consumer trends. Would love for you to share some of those that, you know, if you've got a crystal ball, what do you think is coming in the next 10 years?
I think there will be only one retail. I don't think we're going to talk anymore about digital retail and store retail. I think there will be one retail. You buy something, you can drop it by at the store. I think packaging will be an issue, how you recycle, what the responsibility is to take. I believe the consumer will buy less going forward because the world can't take it anymore. So this, we lived in the time, especially me in the 80s, where I was young. We were a very wasteful generation. There's no doubt about it, driving more but not understanding it. My grandchildren look at me and they're like shaking their heads about us. So the reality is I think we live in exciting times. I think things are changing, which is a good thing. I think we can overcome all hurdles because, with smartness and with honesty, as you said, we can be really coming out, but I think people will buy less. I think quality, the experience, all of this will matter going forward to the ones that will really drive in that environment, and innovation. I think innovation and really data, like, we do a lot on medical data and science data. It just has to be all true. I think that the time of pretend, like where you could create something out of thin air is becoming less and less. That's what I think.
That's great. And Casey, anything else to add or what your customers are looking for?
Yeah, I agree. I think sustainability is going to be super interesting. A great example of this is actually BoardWriters is doing an initiative for sustainability and educating all of their employees. So this year they've actually brought on a former employee, now professor in sustainability, and educating all of our employees. And if you complete the education over the course of the next year, you'll actually be certified and get a certificate at the end, which I look forward to and I'm trying to do. But I agree with Ulli. It's like you have to think about how to stay sustainable. I am a millennial. That is not a secret. And I think that way. I think about how wasteful we are and how can we be better. So how can we make our packaging? How could we, give the option for like shipping more things together like Amazon does? Thinking through all those things to make it better for the customer and make it better for the world in the future.
That's great. Well, any questions?
Yeah, anyone have any questions here?
Maybe I was supposed to take that too, sorry. I'm standing because I just got off a very long flight, so I'm not trying to hover over anyone here. Ulli, I really love the point you brought up about how retail is not about consumerism. That's great. I think that's a huge takeaway that a lot of folks are playing with. Unfortunately, my question might be more for Casey and for Maggie, just given the nature of how old the brand is. My question is, I'm curious around, retailers themselves are trying to solidify their connection strategy with offsite media. Can you speak to your experience and how that's working? If it's worth it for you at this point in terms of extending offsite using their data? And for us in the ecosystem here, what do we need to solve for you? I'm sure the retailers themselves would have different answers to that question, but I'm curious from your side.
Yeah, sorry, just clarifying question. What exactly do you mean by offsite media?
I think I can help take some of this. So I deal with this a lot. I think, as advertisers, while we love doing, on-site media where they're very close to purchasing, anytime we can also get them or bring new customers back to the site or retarget existing customers in a smart way, we want to do that. And using the rich data that retailers have is hugely valuable to us. What makes it even better is when it's part of an ecosystem where we can port in customer data or lookalike audiences, other data sources that we have to make smarter solutions there. So that combined with other targeting and then really customizable ad options. Right now in retail media on the sites, it's a lot of product listing ads and things like that, but I really encourage retailers out there to either build themselves or work with other companies that allow for code updates that make really customizable options for brands with, video, more images and things like that to help brands stand out.
Yeah, sorry. I was just curious if you were talking about like a specific channel or anything. I think we're constantly looking for what we can try. I mean, we are on all the general things that you have to be on, right? Google, Facebook, Instagram. We are actually exploring mountains, so I look forward to that conversation tomorrow because we do have a big collaboration coming out this summer, and we really could see the power of video and streaming. So just always looking for the right avenues. We're, for lack of a better word, haven't really dabbled too much in TikTok or Snap. I think we're a little behind there, to be honest. But I think we've kind of we're a big moving train, so we move a little slowly. But part of my role and part of my job is to make sure that we're exploring all of those and trying those out.
Great, and I think, unless any another question, because we can call it there. You guys were great, thank you so much, and if there's more questions for them, find them in the area.